All right, aloha and welcome everyone. This is another one of our Conscious Creator Work Periods presented on behalf of Paradigm Shift Central. This is a community of conscious creators, conscious media creators coming together to be able to help assist and accelerate the collective shift in consciousness. My name is Brendon, aka Mystic Spider-Man, Skull Babylon, and I'm joined once again by some fellow amazing creators, some of our leading members. You guys can wave to the camera there. We've got Casey, we've got Lita, we've got Jazz, and we've got Pisces with us here today. So just as a quick introduction, these Conscious Creator Work Periods, we do these Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 to 4 p.m. EST. This is where we come together to practice talking about social media tactics, things we want to be able to get focus and clarity on. And again, just being able to help support each other. And as we do this, I'll just give some general introductions right at the start, and then we'll go into some topics as well. We're going to be talking about how to be able to kind of like balance the creative process as entrepreneurs with other real world responsibilities, talking a bit about even just like scheduling, management, those important things as well. Lita is going to be talking, wants us to be able to talk about just being able to develop more comfortable, being able to find a little bit more comfort in being able to openly talk about our spiritual community, perhaps when you're coming from a more religious background and there may be people who are kind of familiar with you from that perspective. And then from there, Pisces is going to be checking in on some stuff. And from there, we'll also be talking with Jazz, one of our newer leading members. And again, just being able to talk about some general concepts in terms of making content and just being able to make sure that we're reaching our goals and figuring out the best ways to be able to reach our audience with the messages that we have. So again, for those of you who may be new to this, welcome. You are welcome to connect to our Discord channel. You can find the link down below to be able to connect further with the community. And if you check out my Patreon, you can join as a leading member there at the $11 a month contribution. And that's where you can join on air for these work periods, our weekly team podcasts, and also access to me as a conscious media creation coach. So we got about an hour here on the clock, so we're going to get right into this. And just starting off with some general basic stuff at the start of the week. This week's podcast is going to be a very exciting one. This is going to be about the spiritual wisdom of alchemy. So for everybody listening to this, please feel free to join in for that one. That's Thursday, 8 p.m. EST, specifically for leading members and anybody really. Please feel free to send me a direct message if you would like me to be able to send you the graphics for that this week. And then you can make your own video about a video for it, promoting it using the TikTok green screen video effect and even just the still frame graphic that you can repost to Instagram as well. So any help with promoting that, please feel free to do that. And the URL is tinyurl.com/oct8 alchemy. So easy to remember there. And again, just inviting you to be able to help let people know about it ahead of time, and even just encouraging you to be even spend a little bit of time doing some research about the topic. If you're brand new to it, totally cool either way. You're welcome to join. You're welcome to be in the YouTube audience. And yeah, it's being able to create that space for us to be able to explore this topic together, regardless of how familiar you are with it. So other things that I wanted to just be able to hit upon real quick, and then we're going to get right into talking with Casey just about being able to balance things. There's not too much that I'm just going to kind of like dive into today in terms of just like general tips and tricks right at the start. I just want to be able to make time for the other discussion that we have. Sometimes we do about 15 minutes where I just kind of like come at you with a specific tips and tricks. Stand by, there will be plenty more of those for today. For this one, we're just going to create space for, again, the discussion that's being focused on by the people who are here. So the other thing I was just going to mention for conscious creators, for leading members, for those of you on our team as conscious media creators, doing these work periods is one way where I can help assist you. You guys can obviously also message me through direct messaging on Discord. That's another way. I am also leaning more towards just being able to create time within my schedule to do more one-on-ones with people when they're ready to be able to do so. So it's not something where I can literally just say, like every single person can, like get as many one-on-ones as you need type thing. Obviously we consolidate things here through the work period, but specifically, if you're at a point where, say, for example, you're starting to build your Patreon and you're starting to build your Discord server and you're kind of at that stage, I've been in the process of helping people just, sit down with them for less than an hour. And within that hour, like I've been able to just kind of like help them refine their Discord. They can add me, you can add me as like the admin so I can manually adjust things for you. We can talk while we're doing it, and we can look at your Patreon. So within like 1 hour, if you're kind of like in the process of creating your Discord and your Patreon, we can sit down for a session and really just help to be able to refine things so that you can get things moving smoothly and get ready to begin inviting your people, your community to your Patreon when you're ready for that. So again, if you're at that point where you're like, yes, I am looking to be able to build a Discord, and yes, I'm looking to build a Patreon, get started on it on your own, or even just message me as you get started on it. And then once you've kind of just gotten like the foundations rolling and you've kind of got the general setup with your tiers, then come to me and just be like, hey, I'd love to be able to do a one-on-one. And then that's where, again, we can set up and we can just kind of do like a big, like a super easy session where we can just kind of like help refine things as well. So just wanted to be able to put that invite out there. I got a couple people this week that I'm doing that with this week. So again, just wanted to be able to make sure that other leading members know that that is an option as well. So, but again, please feel free to direct message me anytime if you do have any general tips or just any general insight that you'd like to be able to get some direction on as well. So cool. Okay, so with that said, we're going to move into the first topic, and this is again with Casey. And I'll pass it to Casey in a second, but again, just as kind of a setup, Casey was just mentioning before we started recording the idea of just being able to get some insight on being able to make sure that we're creating balance between the content that we're creating and the responsibilities of our family, our friends, our social life, and all of that. So Casey, if you'd like, I can pass it over to you and you can just kind of talk about this from your perspective. And again, at this point, yes, I'll give my feedback, but at this point, for all of us here, please feel free to I welcome your insight into this discussion. This can be more of a group style discussion because I'd love to just be able to hear everyone's perspective on this as well. And I'll add in some additional insight where I can. So Casey, I'll pass it over to you. Go ahead and just explain to us what it is that you're, again, basically like what you would like to be able to get clarity on. And I'll just say this again, with the conscious creator, with the process of being a conscious creator, it's okay to notice when things like aren't running smoothly. Like that's okay. Like you want to notice where things aren't kind of like fully running smoothly, because that's where you can focus more and to be able to refine them as well. So it's totally cool. And this is such a relevant topic. So Casey, passing it over to you when you're ready, go ahead, briefly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit what you would like to bring to the circle. Welcome.
All right, so if anyone doesn't know me, my name's Casey. I'm a intuitive tarot reader, I'm a psychic, and I'm a Reiki master. So between those three things, I feel like it's a little difficult to balance the content between Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Most of my content does come from either TikTok or YouTube. YouTube, I pretty much have a schedule where the content's coming out, their monthly astrology readings. So that comes out within the first 2 weeks. I just kind of post all those videos. TikTok is a little bit more sporadic. But for instance, YouTube, I am in the process of making an intro video, and I have to make, you don't have to, but I do make personalized thumbnails for my videos. And I'm also putting those clips of those videos on TikTok. So it's never like a one and done type of deal. It's like I have this task, but there are, 15 pieces to this one task. And I often find that my significant other or my family or friends are saying, well, you haven't called me back, or you haven't responded to my text. You said we would spend this day together, but now you have a client, for instance, because I also take personal clients. So I try to make a schedule the best I can, but I'm trying to find the line between, I have to do these things and these are, priority, primary, and then where is the rest? Like, I think I might have to maybe tone it back, but I don't want to not make as much content because I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So that's just kind of the gist.
Awesome. Thank you, Casey, for sharing it. And again, that's such an important conversation, because I know a lot of people are going to be able to relate to that at different ways. Some people, you're just getting started, but even getting into the process of starting with the content creation, it's important to make sure that you're balancing things and you're creating those routines in your schedules. So again, Casey, with your particular circumstance here as it is, I think it's always important to like make sure that yes, you're paying attention to the time that you're putting into your content. You're getting better at doing things quicker. You're creating templates where things can be using templates. Little things like that can go a really long way. But then I think it's also important to make sure that you are just literally creating periods of the day where, like, this is where I'm working on stuff from, this hour to this hour. And then literally at that hour, you just make like the cold decision to say like, you know what, at this hour at 4 p.m., phones off, computers off, step away, go, sit down with my family, eat some dinner, get back to my friends, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because I think once we kind of like get into the routine of doing that, the universe will begin to kind of adjust itself to that. But at the same time, I think it's also important to make sure that the time that we are spending on our things like our YouTube, which can be very time consuming, is moving ourselves forward in the way that we really want to be able to use, that we really want to be able to go. So, just kind of really being honest and, like, is this yielding the outcome that I want based on the energy that I'm putting into it? And are there perhaps other ways where I might be able to shift my energy, even just for a period of time, and then go back to that, which may in turn yield even more results? Or maybe again, like less quantity, more quality, so to speak. Because again, I think it's important that you're creating the routine with your YouTube videos. But at the same time, maybe if you were to just kind of like dial back a little bit on the YouTube videos, and if you feel called, again, whether this is for you or for other people, I think it's really powerful to be able to, it depends on what your objective is. If your objective is to literally just get like a lot of reach, sometimes it's good to just begin, dialing back on the YouTube and then shifting into the TikTok, but then using the TikTok to drive audience over to the YouTube. If your focus is on being able to develop more like the one-to-one relationships and everything, you're going to know what your community is resonating with. But maybe, again, maybe you're just like implementing a little bit of a schedule where you're going live on TikTok, like in the morning or in the evening, and then you're accomplishing the same process of being able to eventually invite people into the personalized readings as well. Considering that normally I assume like your personalized readings, people are probably finding out of those both through your YouTube as well as your other content. Yeah, I mean, there's no one answer that I have for this. Obviously, we're just kind of like talking out loud, but I do think being able to really just kind of check in and just being like, okay, what can I afford to kind of like shave? What can I afford to kind of like reduce while still being able to accomplish my objectives? I understand that like some of it is like, yeah, you're having fun, and that's great. That's one of the most important things. At the same time, like, is that fun also equating in more income, more Patreon supporters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Again, not that it's not like your goal is literally just Patreon supporters, but at the same time, if you're spending, like 10 hours on like all this stuff and all this thing, like it would be great if those 10 hours could literally become an equation that equates to 2 or 3 new Patreon supporters, opposed to putting in 10 hours and it goes right to your community, and you do get the regular people who are tuning into that, but did it forward the invitation for your Patreon at all? I think with this, like, it just based on kind of like what you're saying, I think it is good for you to be aware of where you're at and to just kind of like maybe even begin just kind of like reassessing what your priorities need to be right now in terms of creating your content, in terms of, yes, balancing fun, but then also, again, if you're building like a thing like your Patreon, then theoretically, you could focus more on kind of like the quality, which could in turn open up more time for you to be social with your friends and everything like that. It's kind of like a good problem to have, the fact that you're like enjoying things so much. But no, I think it's important that you're obviously listening to the needs of your family, but at the same time, making sure that the people who are there to support you will understand. And if you're just politely like, hey, I'll get back to you when I can, they'll understand that. But yeah, just making sure that it's balanced and not to the point where you're literally, having people just like clawing at your door, just being like, we haven't heard from you in weeks, like, come play with us or something like that. So, and honestly, this goes for me too. I'm a bit of a workaholic, but at the same time, sometimes I literally just have to be like, okay, my work for today is to spend time with my family and spend time with myself and to step away from the computer. And I literally just have to do that. And that's what I commit to. And that's still a big part of the work, because your work is about being able to take care of yourself and take care of your relationships. And that echoes into the rest of your work very holographically. But anyways, I'm just brainstorming. Casey, I'll pass it over to you. And then anybody else, please feel free to like jump in and maybe, let us know if this is relative to you or maybe things that you found that have been helpful. But again, I think little things like a schedule, reassessing your priorities, making sure that the energy you're putting into things is yielding the outcome that you desire. And just getting, more concise and more clear with the content that it is that you're creating across multiple platforms. But anyways, Casey, I'll pass it back to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely think that I might think I'm making a great schedule, but I obviously just might think that because I only have my perspective and I see it differently. I think because this is so new, as a little bit of a background, so I thought about doing TikTok for probably over a year and never actually stepped out to do that, or YouTube or anything. And then right around my birthday in the beginning of April this year was when I started. So the fact that I have all of this, I'm blessed and so grateful for that anyway. So I kind of have to step back and say, like, yeah, I'm lucky that this is the problem that I'm dealing with. But yeah, I definitely need to make maybe a little bit tighter of a schedule to say, like, I have to just put my head down and do whatever I can between this time to this time, and the rest just goes to, whoever needs me, because I can't disappear from my life to do this, because then I'll have nothing to fall back on. So, and I did have, I went on TikTok and did a live reading for the full moon after the fact, and I received a channeling from, sounds kind of crazy, but from Archangel Shamuel, who basically said that there's a wave coming in of new people who are going to be waking up, and essentially what I heard was they need you, being everybody, light workers or people like us who are just all spreading that info. So I think that also puts this like weird added pressure on me. So overall, I'm just like, thank you so much, grateful spirit, for your presence, but I have to take a nap first. So
don't worry, honey, you have a team.
Thank goodness. That's the best part. So I'm like, it's a great problem to have, so I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. And I'll just respond to this, and then Pisces or anybody else, if you want to jump in. I think you're in the right place where you're self-aware enough to be able to say, like, okay, like, let's make some adjustments, because I mean, again, the feedback that you're getting from people is valuable information. It's valuable feedback. At the same time, assuming the feedback is coming from people who themselves are understanding that this is something you're investing in, you're building yourself in, and once they understand, it's just like, hey, it's not that I don't love you, but this is something that is really calling to me right now. But again, at the same time, this goes for all of us. Like, yeah, we need to make sure that we're not getting too sucked into our work, which can easily happen and everything like that. So I think, if anything, I would say, maybe for you, Casey, maybe even just an experiment, and this could be something we might be able to talk a little bit more later, just almost be able to say, like, okay, you know what? I'm going to dedicate 3 hours each day to doing my work. What's the most that I could get done in those 3 hours? Because I think it's one of the kind of those things where, like, even and this is actually really powerful, and I'll just say this, I'll pass it over to Pisces. If like, this kind of, I forget the exact way they say it, but it's like one of those things where it's like, if you give someone a task and tell them they have until the rest of the month to do it, it will take them the rest of the month to do it. If you give them that exact same task and tell them they have until 2 p.m. tomorrow to do it, they'll get it done by 2 p.m. tomorrow, right? So I think if you kind of like become your own boss in that sense, to be able to really lock down and create those time blocks where it's like, okay, 3 hours here, spend time doing other things. 2 hours here, spend time doing other things, and get really, really like structured in that kind of schedule. And if it helps you to create an actual physical calendar, that may help. But I think if you do that, you may actually find that you might actually be getting more done in less time. And then just making sure that the things that you are doing are moving the needle forward. Like, is spending that much time just on your YouTubes, it's fun? Is it accomplishing, again, the objective of reaching more people? I think it's going to be that balance of, a little bit of TikTok, a little bit of YouTube, et cetera. But again, finding that balance it's part of the work, right? Pisces, did you want to jump in with anything? Yeah, go for it.
I promise this is brief. It's going to seem weird, but I'm dropping puzzle pieces and it'll make sense at the end. So this is so relative to me. You have no idea. We're in sync so much. This is exactly, I'm clutching my pendant inside my sweater. It's full of crystals. This is so close to my heart, because I've had this exact same issue in having all of these different platforms, wanting to roll out and connect everybody back to this one center that is me, that is this light, this guardian super shine, trying to get everybody woke, everybody on the team, and feeling like the whole world is like on my back. But also I have this team of like amazing people, and I want just like bringing in the wave continuously. It can become a little bit overbearing. And so like, that's so super relatable, like having like the family, the platforms, like the multitasking is just wild. Like, how do you even have time for like showering, right? So two things happened to me yesterday. I have a mug of coffee and I go take my sponge like this and the cup goes pink and I'm holding the handle still. And I'm like, shit, that sucks. Okay. Today I'm vacuuming and the cord for my vacuum, the plug is above the counter and the cord slides and knocks my mug off the counter and only the friggin' handle breaks off. You know, the spirits are telling me you need to get a handle on things. You've lost the handle of things. You don't have control anymore. So they're screaming at this point because I've not been paying attention. They're really, really letting me know that it's time to take a deep breath for all of us. It's time to center. It's okay to take time out for ourselves. I ignored the hermit card. I pulled that on tarot on live 2 days ago and I ignored it and jumped off the live really quick. And then 2 days before that, I pulled rest and hibernation out of an oracle card. So we need to take a step back off of the platforms because what the archangels are telling us is that the wave of woke is coming whether we are working or not. So we can sit back, let the wave come to us while we breathe, while we center, while we charge. This is a calm week. I've been receiving a lot of messages. This is coming week. It's not really, maybe not going to be relaxing, but it's going to be a calm week. So take advantage of that. Let's make it relaxing. Let's take this week to really self-reflect. Let's think about how really do we have a handle on things. Let's think about what things maybe we have let go of. And Brendon was talking a lot about closing the loops on things that may have continued to spin during the morning meditation today. So I'm having this huge message that all of us could benefit from coming together and setting intention right now to make this week one of finishing what we haven't finished, crossing T's, dotting I's, and not starting anything new, and breathing, setting that phone down face down so when it lights up, you're not tempted to pick it up and see how many likes you got on the post you just made because you already did your work. You don't need to check back in. That's the message I'm getting for me. And so I felt called to share it with you all. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Namaste, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Pisces. Yeah, and I'll pass back over to Casey, and then we'll move into the next part of the discussion with anybody else. But if anybody else wants to jump in, that's fine too. Yeah, I think again, for everybody here, reminding us that like our job is to take care of ourselves. Like our job is not just what we post. It is not just our lives. It is taking care of ourselves, and taking care of ourselves is meaning knowing when to stop, when to take breaks, when to rest, when to spend time with family. Because yeah, like what Pisces was saying, I think right now, all of us, we need to be able to focus on recalibration. This is a great lesson in recalibration, because if we don't, if we're just like, oh my God, you see it sometimes, they're like, I'm doing it, I'm reaching people, I'm going viral, I'm blowing up. And then like a week later, they're like, I'm freaking exhausted and I can't do this anymore, So like you have to kind of prepare to move in that cadence and create that rhythm for yourself. So I think, again, for Casey and for everyone, having those strict time schedules where it's like, okay, after 9 p.m., nothing work related, nothing, maybe I'll get inspired, maybe I might browse some other stuff, but, just try and keep strict to that. And another quick tip for everybody here, disable your notifications on your phone. Like I keep forgetting to mention that to you guys, but that's been a big shift for me. Like literally, like no notifications on your phone other than like text messages through cell phone notifications, if that. But no pop-ups for Instagram, no pop-ups for TikTok. Disable all of that. You can check it when you open it, but you are in control when you do it that way instead of being at the whim of that bell. But yeah, no, I think again, Casey, I think it's important to just kind of continue to be aware of this, and like I said, if you can kind of figure out, reassess and just be like, okay, how is the time I'm spending on this? Is it moving my needle forward? Could this focus be adjusted to other places? Where do I need to bring my focus to right now? Like, am I reaching people? Is my focus to be able to get the one-on-one stuff? just making sure that whatever you're focusing on is reaching those goals. And that's the thing, like the last thing I'll just say, don't be afraid to change your routine. If people have come to expect your routine, that's great, but don't think that you have to keep that same routine for the rest of your life. You find the routine that adjusts for you. So if you've been uploading to YouTube all of these regular things on a regular basis, that's great. But don't think that just because you do it a little bit less or you change that schedule that suddenly people are going to, be disappointed. Like, you are providing an incredible amount of value as it already is. And even if you just let people know, hey, everyone, I've just been getting a lot of downloads lately, so I'm going to adjust my schedule, but make sure you're tuned in on my TikTok because I'll be posting there more regularly. So it's just modifying where the value is presenting itself. But yeah, I think if you're flexible with that, then finding that grace and ease will just naturally come through. Casey, I'll pass it back to you. Let me know if that, again, just what we've talked about, if that gives you a little bit additional clarity or focus and anything else.
Yeah, that was beautifully said by Pisces as well. I had a similar situation yesterday where I was talking to a friend and I literally was talking about this. I said, I kind of wish I had a little bit more time, but maybe I just need to manage it better. But I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I woke up this morning to a beautiful message from someone that shows up to, every live, who watches all my videos and has just been a really great supporter. And she was like, hey, I just want to send you a message. I know it's really late where you are, but I basically just wanted to say thank you and that you've helped me in so many different ways. And I was like, wow, this is like, thank you. Like, that's what I needed. And then I got in my car and it wouldn't start. So I called my boss and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm having troubles. And she goes, I don't even really have anything for you today. Why don't you just stay home? And I was like, what a message. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go home. So I did a brainstorm session with my friend and she was like, same thing, make a schedule for yourself. Like, you're already doing a lot. So I definitely think just having this group is also really beneficial for me, but I think it just adds value to anyone who's interested in joining. I think coming here has really also helped me get just a beeline on what I'm going to do. So I'm going to keep making a schedule for myself. And if I have to pick a couple things off, I'll just tailor it. And yeah, so thanks everyone.
Yeah, no, that's great. And again, like, if there's things that you're passionate about, like, I think it's just a matter of figuring out what the priority is. So it doesn't mean you're not going to do it, but maybe you just do it next week, or maybe you wait until next month. It's okay. Like, whatever, like, your job is to kind of tap into that wisdom, and then whatever that wisdom will be, what is like the best course of action and everything like that. The only thing that you don't want to do is ignore the internal notifications within you that says, hey, slow down. That's the only thing that you just need to, as long as you're paying attention to those and you adjust accordingly, spirit will, still lay things out accordingly ahead of you. So no, that's really great. And again, Casey, I would say, even following this, please feel free. Like, I would encourage you, send me a direct message and just kind of like, let me know kind of like your updated schedule or your updated goals, what it is. And then just use me as an accountability partner, and I can give some feedback on that if need be. So, okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Casey. Okay. Just, are we ready to move into the next part, or was there anybody else who had anything to mention on that? Okay, cool. All right, so Lita, we'll pass it over to you next. So I'll let you just kind of, again, just explain to us a little bit about what it is that you're liking to get feedback on. Just kind of mentioning the idea of like, how can we present ourselves when we may have people who are familiar with us, going back to like coming from a religious background and coming from that community. How do we present ourselves in a way that both we're comfortable with and, something that maybe other people are not going to be too judgmental about, or whatever it may be. But Lita, go ahead. I'll pass it over to you and let me know in your own words what it is that you'd like to get some feedback on. And welcome.
Yes, so hi everyone. My name is Lita. I'm an uprising inspirational speaker, YouTuber, and yeah. So my question was, everything you said. Sorry, I'm getting nervous. But so I grew up in a Christian background. Non-denominational / Pentecostal, and it's like I started my spiritual awakening probably last year, maybe 2 years ago. And yeah, so it's like I want to talk about the things that I am now interested in, but it's like something inside me, gets scared, worrying about what people are going to say, worrying about what people are going to think, and so that's pretty much.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, no, sorry, was there anything else, or is that good? Cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think, thank you again for bringing that up, because I'm sure that's going to be relatable to people in a variety of different ways. And I think first of all, it's worth acknowledging that talking about a lot of this spiritual stuff does take a bit of courage. And so thank you for, being brave and listening to your heart, because I think that's the most important thing. It's something where, like, when we begin to close ourselves off from speaking our truth, like it kind of nags at us. We're just like, it's like, you should be doing this. You should be doing this. Like, go ahead, do this, do this, do this. And you can't, that voice will not shut up, right? Like, because that voice is like your like destiny calling you. It's what's called all of us to jump online and to begin creating content. Without fully knowing your audience personally and everything, I think it's important for you to really just begin, finding ways to be able to create like a common ground where the content that you're doing, it's, at the end of the day, much like how we talk about, it's encouraging people to think for themselves. And ultimately, it's really just there to be able to inspire people and to be able to create discussion. And that's okay. We've talked a lot about in the past where, your content is not going to be for everyone. And so I think what's important for you is just acknowledging that your content will reach the people who it's meant for. And if that's not some of the people from your previous community, from your past, that's okay. That's okay. Hopefully, they would either just, politely say nothing. And maybe even if they do kind of reach out to you, and if they come off as a little bit antagonistic, that's another opportunity for you to either like politely set boundaries, or just to even be able to like communicate a bit of a conversation and just be like, hey, look, this is my truth. This is how I've been connecting, with spirit and God, call it what you will. And at the end of the day, I'm just here to be able to help inspire people. Like, it's not like, and like, I doubt you're doing anything that's too sacrilegious, so to speak, but obviously people are probably going to be a little bit sensitive to it. But at the same time, I think it's important for all of us to make sure that we're being who we are, we're being our authentic self, not the expectation of what other people think that we should be. And I think that's just something that will naturally just continue to become familiar over time as you keep doing this, as you just continue to create your content. And even just making sure that maybe within your content, you're just openly reminding people what it is, like, why are you creating your content, right? Like, you're not trying to turn them away from Jesus. You're trying to turn them into connecting with the spirit that's already inside of them. And that's okay. And even if there's ways like I think it's important to make sure that, the content you're talking about is kind of quote unquote safe. Like, don't like, and again, it's up to you, but I would try to not create content that you would think like, okay, like if I was one of my friends from church back in the day and I saw this, what would they think of it? And try not to create things that are like almost feeling as if it's like a jab at them or something. Like, you should almost kind of like move into what is a quite a different genre, than specifically talking about things that can be sort of seen as being related to the teachings of the church and everything like that. But at the same time, I mean, if you feel like it's called, there could be a way where, you may actually be able to speak to it from your unique perspective and kind of begin drawing like commonalities and parallels between the teachings that you grew up with and the teachings that you are now leaning towards as spirit, and to actually be able to see that they're more or less the same thing, just talked about in different ways, and if that's something you feel called to. But again, I think if anything, once you kind of start creating more content on TikTok and starting to get your content out there, I think it will be valuable for you to begin finding that there are plenty other people outside of those who already know you who appreciate the content that you're creating. And I think once you start getting that feedback, that will just kind of help like motivate you a little bit, because be like, okay, this is, once you even just get like even just a little bit of feedback, whereas people are just like, hey, I really appreciate that right there is spirit telling you keep going, right? Like, you're not here to make content and modify it based on other people's sensitivities. Like, I don't think you would be doing anything that would be like too polarizing, because ultimately at the end of the day, you're just trying to spread love and compassion and kindness and mindfulness. And I think that's a common thing. So, I mean, if anything, if you're talking about that, I would just kind of, focus on even just some of those common themes that are the common themes of the church, but you're just presenting them in a different way. And I think that's okay. And if you do feel that there are some people that are, gonna like directly message you about that, again, you can choose to politely respond. You can also choose to politely not respond. It's really up to you. You get to kind of choose where you're setting those boundaries. But I think as you keep kind of creating your content, you'll find that the new audience you're building will actually, become the prominent audience. And then the audience from your past will actually become, just a small fraction. But again, I think if they genuinely support you, they would support you in just being able to see the fact that this is you just trying to help people at the end of the day. And if anything, like, that's how you could explain it to them, where it's this isn't you going like against the church. Like, this is you just like still just trying to help people in a way that's true to your spirit, that's true to your connection with, with whatever it is that would have been relative to the lessons of the church back in the day. But anyways, Lisa, I'll pass it back to you, because I mean, again, we're just brainstorming here, but I think, again, once you just start, it's a practice to build confidence, and obviously we're here as a team to be able to give that feedback. But yeah, I would say, don't hold back. That you are not responsible for other people's reactions to your content. You do not need to modify your content based on other people's expectations. Your job is to be able to create the content that is true to your heart. And once you start doing that, you'll start getting the feedback, and then that will start making it a little bit easier to keep doing that. And I think you're doing a great job already. So just keep going in that direction, So, but Lita, go ahead.
And yeah, just listening to you say everything, I really don't even now, like, when you say stuff out loud, it's like you get other thoughts about the topic or whatever. And so it's like, I don't even think I'm really too worried about people. I think it's really my family, especially my mom, because she's, faithfully Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, going to church and everything. And, with me talking about different things, and if she was to see it, and then why you do, how parents are. So it's like, I guess that's the real person I'm really worried about, like how to explain, who I am now. And what I'm saying? Just, I don't know. But,
yeah, no, I of course, that's very important, especially, you're right. Like, I mean, yeah, like 1,000 people could be like, I don't agree with this. But as soon as your mom's just like, what is this? You're just like, oh God, like, I'm in trouble. Right. So there may be a conversation there where maybe it means calling her up ahead of time and just being like, hey, like, like if it's something that you feel called to do. But at the same time, I think it's also something where moving forward, you have the right to live your own life. And it may be something as simple as just being able to say like, hey mom, like, don't take this personally. You can still follow me on Facebook and stuff, but maybe just be like, I don't want to say like block her on Instagram or something like that, but you might, like, I don't know, like you
can
almost
set any person's post to not view, or like to privatize a post to a specific person. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Brendon.
On Instagram, I don't think you can like fully do that without like fully blocking them. Go ahead, Lita. Sorry, say that again. Go ahead, Lita.
Sorry. But no, she really just watches my YouTube. So
okay.
That's the only thing. But if somebody around town, I seen your daughter talking about this and that, and like, anybody got time for that?
Yeah, no, and I think that's kind of it, right? Is that, like, it's not your responsibility how much they want to chit chat and banter about it. I mean, I understand that is going to be something that will be a little bit challenging, but I think if anything, that's just a bit of the growing pain, where because they don't really understand what it is you're doing, because maybe you're still, it's still newish to them, but flash forward like a couple months and you can be like, look, like, this actually is me continuing what the church taught me, and the church taught me to help people, and it taught me how to be able to inspire people and everything like that. I'm just doing it in a different way. But I think when you kind of use language to be able to help them see that this isn't you going against anything, this is actually you just trying to help people and inspire people, and you can be like, yeah, like, I get a lot of people and they say they really appreciate that, and mom, I'm helping people, and I think at the end of the day, like, that might be one of the ways to be able to approach the conversation. But yeah, I think it is something where, like, yeah, your path will just be, to move forward with what it is that you feel called to do. Understand that there may be people who react. It's not fully your responsibility, but you can mitigate it and meet them halfway, and maybe have a gentle conversation with them if they come to you. It might be one of those things where, like, sometimes, like, the fears in our mind are bigger than they are in reality. You know, like there might be a pleasant reality where your mom sees your video and she's like, hey, I really like that, you know, and what would that like, oh, I'm sure that would like be like really, really meaningful. Right. So I think with whatever it is you're doing, even for now, try not to make anything like too polarizing. Like, I don't think that would be something you would need to do to begin with. I mean, it's up to you, but yeah, you know, just keep creating content in a way that's going to continue to inspire people. And I think that as long as you're doing that, like people will see that, and that's awesome. So, you know, that's helping people. So yeah. Go ahead, Lita.
And then one more thing, it's like, I know when to pick when to have certain conversations. And it's like, you know, if a person's judgmental and you already know how they're going to react. So it's like, you don't want that energy coming to you. So it's like, why even bring it up? You know what I'm saying? Why even have the discussion? Because I already know how you're going to act and what you're going to say. And ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, no, again, I think this is a great opportunity for you to just kind of like set your boundaries, or just be like, hey mom, you know, like, yeah, we can talk about things, but like, we're not talking about that, or something like that. You know, if I think whatever it is, you know, it's still understanding that it's there for you to grow through, and it's there for you to still be able to like find clear ways to communicate, to speak your truth, and to also have empathy and understanding, while not deterring from what it is that you feel called to do, because that's the most important thing. You know, again, at the end of the day, if we like hold ourselves back from speaking our truth, like that hurts us. But somebody like, you know, saying that they don't agree with their video, that's just like a blip. You know, that's just a blip in us like actually becoming stronger, because it actually helps us become more clear on what it is that we're here to do, and helps us, again, just be able to develop better communication skills and everything like that. So yeah. But yeah, no, again, please feel free to, you know, keep in touch. Let me know if there's like even content you want to send me ahead of time, and let me know if there's anything else that I can do to assist you on that. But I would say, you know, just keep moving forward, and whatever will be, and be gentle with yourself, be gentle with others. Try to avoid anything too polarizing, though I don't think that would be something you'd be doing to begin with. And yeah, you know, just take it one step at a time. But yeah, I would say, you know, you might be pleasantly surprised. You might be pleasantly surprised as you keep creating content, with the feedback you might get, right? So who knows? There might be like some bigger thing there where it might like start opening up your mom's mind in a way that maybe you didn't really expect, or something. I don't know. Not entirely sure, but won't know until you try, right? So anyways, excuse me. Lita, was there anything else, or is that okay for now?
Oh no, I needed everything you said. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that helps give you a little bit more clarity.
It's like I can breathe now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, take that breath. Absolutely, that's super important. So awesome, cool, wonderful. Thank you, Lita. You're doing great. Cool. Okay, Jazz, we'll pass over to you. We got about 18 minutes on the clock, so that's cool. Got enough time for that. So Jazz, go ahead. You can, and again, Lita, you're at just let people know where they can find you on Instagram, because I forgot to mention to do the intro.
Oh, say it on here.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can follow me on IG at The Inspirational Goddess. And yeah.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Awesome. And we'll have the show notes for that as well. Cool. Okay, Jazz, we'll pass it over to you. Jazz, one of our newer leading members. So Jazz, please feel free to briefly introduce yourself, and you can tell us a little bit about just things you're looking on getting feedback on today. And welcome, Jazz. Go right ahead.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. My my TikTok and YouTube and all of that is Jazz of Earth. And I do intuitive messages and light language. And I'm getting into honing my healing abilities a bit more before I call myself a healer. And I just wanted insight on how I can better assist during this time, but I also relate earlier to what you guys were saying about not feeling like you have to be doing something all the time, and that is something that I do feel a lot, like I'm not doing enough, but I do recognize that just being here is enough, so I just have to make myself fully understand that. And also in relation to what you were saying earlier about the church, and I relate a lot to that. My dad started the church that he's in, and that is the main thing that was holding me back from starting my spiritual, like, conscious creation, all of that. But I think it's important to recognize that if you come from a Christian background and you're going into spirituality, that makes your voice like even more important, because people are afraid of spirituality because of the lies and things that people believe from religion. Like, they're not opposites, it's not one or the other. And I think it's important to spread that message, especially if you're someone that understands Christianity, understands why people feel that way. You need to express that even more. That kind of inspired me. Like, it scared me at first. Like, I don't want to say this, but then you recognize, well, no, like, now I can use that. Now I can understand where other people are coming from. And yeah, it is scary, but it's worth it. So that's all.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jazz. And yeah, no, echoing that, it's great to just be able to hear your feedback on that perspective as well. And yeah, again, I think each one of us comes from our background so that we can be, world bridgers between various different backgrounds and cultures and faiths and beliefs. Because I think, again, that's kind of the idea, is to see the common thread, see the idea that they're all pointing in towards a single truth. And I think being able to speak that now is like more powerful than ever, especially if you do have people who are in your audience who may still be, deeply rooted into the religious belief that maybe you've come from as well. But Jazz, just going back to you again, I know we mentioned before, can you just kind of like reiterate what type of things would you like to be able to just like even brainstorm on today? Because you were talking about just like ways to be able to make sure that we're like reaching our goals, or just being able to decide on like where you should be putting your focus and things like that right now. If there's anything else more that you want to talk about, and I'm sure there's probably more stuff that we could talk about beyond this particular meeting as well, but go ahead, Jazz. Like where do you feel you're just like, in terms of your journey as a conscious media creation, where do you feel you would like to be able to get some more clarity in terms of your next steps?
Yeah, I definitely feel called to make a lot of content on YouTube, but I'm not exactly sure what would be the best things to post. I've posted a few videos, but I don't know what to stick to.
Mm-hmm. And how's you're on TikTok right now, correct?
Yes.
How's your TikTok doing? Like how long have you been on it, and how many followers do you have so far?
I have 300. One of my TikToks recently kind of blew up. It was interesting. And even on that video, I've gotten some like hate comments and some comments in regards to religion, just from tarot videos and stuff like that, but doesn't bother me as much. But TikTok is definitely amazing. I love going on there just because it feels very welcoming in general.
Yeah. And there was a whole nother meeting that we did a while ago, and this may be one even for Lita and for anybody else to check out, where it's basically just like how to deal with trolls, and just like the power of, block and bless, and setting your boundaries. And absolutely, like if people are coming and they're like berating and being antagonistic on your posts, like do not shy away from blocking those accounts, because that's just going to create the healthy space for your community, the healthy environment for your community moving forward. But yeah, going back to just kind of what you were talking about there, Jazz, and we'll just brainstorm here for a little bit. I think it's great to be able to feel the call to be able to want to be able to create longer content on YouTube. I think that's great for you being able to just also be able to practice that creative process as well. I do also think that if you're looking on kind of, and this is where we almost need to get a bigger understanding of like, what would you like to be able to build for your community? Would you like to be able to facilitate, would you like to be able to facilitate online Zoom calls? Would you like to be able to do one-on-one readings? Would you like to be able to create a Discord channel? Would you like to be able to build a Patreon and build regenerative income as well? So if you are kind of, and this is for Jazz and for everybody here, if you are kind of moving towards building the Patreon and having that community set up, I think it's good to just be able to be open to working on YouTube as the ideas come. But I would say keep your focus for the time being on just being able to consistently produce quality TikTok videos, even just for like a month, just to kind of like be able to build your audience there. And then that's building your relationships. And within that, if you're able to post 1 or 2 YouTube videos, that's okay. But using the growth of the TikTok to be able to bring people over to YouTube, opposed to going right to the YouTube and then you're putting content out there, but nobody's really discovering it, because of the fact that growing a YouTube channel is a little bit harder than growing a TikTok. But growing a TikTok is the most favorable in terms of the algorithm, in terms of the dice roll effect, in terms of, one video might go viral, you never know. But then making sure that you have again, the other infrastructures in place, such as like your such as your Discord and your Patreon. So it's good that right now you only do have 300 followers is still a lot, obviously, but obviously in terms of TikTok, there's plenty of room to grow there. So I think, Jazz, maybe this is something that we could talk about a little bit more and we can brainstorm around in terms of, if you were to create a Patreon, what would you want to offer? If you were to create a Discord, what would it be focused around? And understanding that you're still new to this, just kind of getting clarity on what it is that you would like to be able to offer in terms of your services. And and then again, just using the YouTube as just a further way for you to be able to practice talking about the things that you're passionate about, whatever they may be. And you may even want to wait to be able to create content for YouTube that may be content that would directly support the content that you're building relative to your Patreon. It could be exclusive content, or it could just be longer form content, which are just going to help people to connect a little bit deeper with what it is that you're talking about. Say, for example, if there is a video you talk about on TikTok in 1 minute, maybe you could create that same a similar topic on YouTube where you might talk about it for 5 minutes, or again, it could be, I think one thing that's great for for YouTube videos is, again, talking about your story, talking about personal experiences. You could literally do this where it's like, I've thought about doing this. I haven't really gotten into it because I've been focusing on other stuff, but literally just create a series of videos where it's like, my thoughts on ... my thoughts on meditation, my thoughts on, prayer, my thoughts on chakras, or something like that. And just literally create, because obviously, you've been on your spiritual journey, and what were some of the topics that you got most excited about when you were studying it? And then even for you, Jazz, and for anybody here, just creating that list of the topics that you would be most excited about. Like if you were sitting underneath the stars with a friend, what would be the things that you would chit chat about? What would be the things that would just naturally, things you could talk about for hours? Then creating a list of that. And then out of those could, again, be topics for both TikTok, but also topics for YouTube as well. But again, I think just being able to not spend too much time on YouTube just yet, but then also, again, stepping back and just being able to get some clarity on what it is that you would like to be able to grow, and how you would like to be able to direct people to connect further with your community, which, again, knowing that things are still pretty fresh, that's something that we can get a little bit more clarity on over time. But that would just be my general thoughts right now, so far with where things are at. But anyways, Jess, I'll pass it back to you. Let me know if that gives some ideas or any other brainstorming we want to do. And we still got some time here for anyone else to jump in as well. So go ahead, Jess.
Oh yeah, that's pretty helpful advice. Thank you.
Awesome. No problem. And Jazz, just like kind of brainstorming here, like, have you thought much about like creating like a Patreon for yourself? Is that something that you've thought a bit about yet?
I don't really know how Patreon works. This is the only Patreon I've joined. So.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so that like I said, and understanding that, yeah, this is still something that is quite new for you, and understandably, like, that's great because it's new for a lot of people. And again, with Patreon, that's where people can sign up, as with mine, with a monthly contribution, and that's where they can get additional benefits and rewards and ways to be able to support people. So that's something that, within our community, we encourage, I help coach people. And again, this can go for everybody here, for Casey, for Lita, Pisces. We're going to be working on their Discord and Patreon tomorrow, or whenever we get that meeting. And and just being able to, create like a valuable space for people to be able to connect and talk about things that they're passionate about related to spirituality. You would position yourself in a role as a facilitator. And then eventually what you could be doing is hosting like online calls, online Zoom meetings. Eventually this could evolve into a podcast. And within that, you could also be offering like one-on-one services and tarot readings, and all sorts of things of that manner. But yeah, I mean, obviously, again, that's something that we can talk a little bit more about. But with that idea that, again, with the value of the Patreon is that you're building a powerful space for your community to connect, for your, like, your super fans, your devoted fans. You're leveling yourself up as a facilitator, as a leader, and you're also building regenerative income, which again moves you more towards that possibility of being able to focus more time on this as an entrepreneur as well. But yeah, Jazz, do you think, like, I mean, again, I know it's still new to you and stuff like that, but would that be something that, like, just to put the idea out there, would that be something that you'd be interested in thinking more about? And just like, would you kind of like possibly see yourself in a little bit more of those leadership roles down the road?
Yeah, I'd say so. That's the goal.
That's the goal. Absolutely. Yeah. No, it is. And again, that's where I'm here to help, because I think with a lot of people, it may be quite new, but once we kind of create the space and the structure, it can become, again, something that just feels very natural in terms of being able to facilitate, and again, making sure that's focused around topics that you're already passionate about. But yeah, just getting that experience under your belt. So yeah, again, for now, Jazz, I would say just kind of continue to focus on creating content with your TikTok, on quality content there. If you do feel called to create some YouTube videos, even just doing, ones that you recorded with your phone as a one-shot take, that's totally fine. You could do those, get some of those online as practice. And then on the side, if we want to chat more about, brainstorming, creating a Patreon for yourself, we can talk a bit more about that down the road. But yeah, Jazz, let me know. Does that give you a little bit more clarity on your next steps in terms of what it is?
Yes, definitely.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. Sweet. Cool, team. Okay. We're almost up to the hour. Does anybody else want to jump in with anything real quick? Pisces? Yeah. Yeah. Go for it.
I just would love to share. I absolutely would love to share the affirmations that came to me during this co-created space, this sacred digital space. Thank you so much, everybody who has participated, and all the spirit guides present. Our power words for today are recalibration, temperance, rest, and recharge. And our affirmations, with a gentle reminder to be gentle with yourself and others. Our affirmations, I invite you to say them to yourself every day for as long as you feel. I am enough. I am gentle. I am built stronger because of my struggles. I am worthy. I am powerful. Thank you.
Awesome. Beautiful. Just writing those down. I am enough. I am gentle. I am built strong because of my struggles. I am worthy. I am powerful. Awesome. Recalibration, temperance, rest, and recharge. Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you, Pisces. Yeah, no big themes right now. To the best of your ability. Yeah. Like, now is a good week to, like we said, kind of like close off any loops and to begin creating your like plans for the next couple months. Literally create like the roadmap that you want to be able to begin moving towards, opposed to just going right into it. Create your strategy, create your goals, create your roadmap, create your routine, create your schedule, and then just slowly kind of like get into that while continuing to take care of yourself. And eventually it gets to the point where it just becomes very, very like, it just flows very naturally, and that's what you want. So cool. Okay, team. Last minute. Does anybody else have anything else, or even just gratitude they want to jump in on? If you guys want to just do that real quick. No, it's cool.
As always, hella grateful.
Super, super awesome. Awesome. All right. Okay. The gratitude is seen. The gratitude is felt. All right. So just wrapping up this meeting here. Thank you again, everyone. If you're watching this on YouTube in the future, please feel free to leave your comments. We'd love to know if this is something that you tune into. I know a lot of you do watch these work periods on a regular basis. They're all online for free. So we hope it gives you some insight to be able to help continue to support you on your journey as a conscious media creator. And again, if you haven't yet, please feel free to connect to our team chat, our Discord server, links down below. And you can join on the Patreon to join as a leading member, to join in for a part of these work periods, and also get access to me as a conscious media creation coach. And with that said, we are ready to wrap it up, and we'll see you in the team chat. So say farewell until next time, everyone. We love you. Bye. All right. Thanks again. Much love. Go team.